The silent terror of an unwitnessed emergency transforms a quiet afternoon into a critical survival window. A sudden fall severs your connection to the outside world in a fraction of a second. This is why exploring medical alert devices for seniors living alone defines the boundary between vulnerability and control. You trust your mobile phone for safety during a crisis. A phone requires reach, fine motor skills, and conscious effort. During physical trauma, fine motor skills vanish. A phone rests on the kitchen counter while the emergency unfolds on the bathroom tiles. Distance in an emergency is not measured in feet. Distance is measured in seconds of consciousness. The illusion of safety creates the greatest danger for adults aging in place. A standard home is a passive environment. It observes your routine but remains indifferent to your sudden immobility. Traditional alarm systems protect the property from intruders. They ignore the resident collapsing in the hallway. The risk is the gap between the event and the intervention. Closing this gap requires a system independent of your physical strength. Your environment must act when your body cannot. Notice the pattern. Aging in place demands proactive environmental architecture. Relying on scheduled calls from relatives leaves massive blind spots. A 12-hour window between check-ins is a vast ocean of risk. Muscle damage and cognitive decline accelerate with speed while waiting on the floor. Dehydration and shock compound the initial injury. The primary injury proves less severe than the secondary complications of isolation. We must reframe our view of emergency response architecture. It is not a surrender of independence. It is the establishment of the autonomous response bridge. The autonomous response bridge removes human hesitation from the crisis equation. This concept shifts the burden of communication from the injured person to the technology. It guarantees an open channel the moment physical parameters indicate a sudden drop. A wearable button or fall sensor functions as the trigger for this bridge. It does not require a dialed number or a swiped screen. It demands a micro-movement to initiate a macro response. Modern systems detect the physics of a fall without manual input. The algorithms analyze velocity and impact force in real time. They differentiate between a dropped device and a collapsed human frame. This precision removes the fear of false alarms. Many avoid safety tech due to the stigma of perceived fragility. Fragility is waiting helpless in a quiet house. Control is wearing a constant connection to emergency logistics. Which hidden safety gap exists in your own daily home routine? Share your observation in the comments below. Identifying the gap is the first stage of risk mitigation. The second stage is hardware deployment. You need an uninterrupted link to dispatch protocols. Implementing a reliable medical alert for elderly individuals constructs this very link. A practical option available via the link in the description shows the ease of this integration. It operates outside of standard internet failure zones. Cellular integration ensures the bridge remains stable during power outages. Global positioning tracking extends this perimeter of safety beyond the front door. The garden, the driveway, and the local walking path become secure zones. The perimeter of independence expands when the fear of an invisible fall disappears. Family members experience a reduction in ambient anxiety. The mandatory check-in phone calls transition back into natural, enjoyable conversations. The relationship shifts from monitoring to mutual respect. You regain the privacy of your own schedule. Technology assumes the role of the silent observer. It speaks only when the physics of your movement indicate danger. Acknowledge the shift. Proper medical alert devices for seniors living alone act as invisible armor. They process the crisis data so you avoid formulating a plan in shock. During a cardiac event, oxygen depletion impairs logical thought. The brain struggles to remember passcodes or navigate contact lists. The autonomous response bridge bypassing this cognitive overload operates as a core survival mechanism. A two-way speaker embedded in the pendant establishes immediate vocal contact. A trained operator assesses the ambient noise and verbal responses. Silence is treated as a critical data point. Inability to speak forces the protocol to assume maximum risk and dispatch emergency services. The coordinates transmit without your active participation. The paramedics arrive knowing the nature of the alert and the exact location. Time is the ultimate currency in trauma medicine. Preserving tissue, brain function, and mobility depends on rapid medical intervention. The golden hour dictates the trajectory of your physical recovery. Delay guarantees institutional care instead of home recovery. The right technology protects your address as much as your vital organs. Returning home after a fall requires minimizing the initial damage. This is the core logic of senior smart home architecture. We optimize for duration of independent living. We eliminate the single points of failure in the daily routine. A solitary walk down the stairs is a point of failure. A wet shower floor represents a significant kinetic hazard. Reaching for a high cabinet introduces center of gravity instability. You cannot eliminate gravity or the nature of friction. You can eliminate the isolation following the inevitable accident. The transition from analog living to digital safety is a mandatory evolution. Analog living relies on luck, timing, and proximity to neighbors. Digital safety relies on permanent, engineered surveillance of sudden impacts. Your home transforms into an active participant in your longevity. Evaluate the risk. Denial is a dangerous strategy for maintaining autonomy. Autonomy requires a realistic assessment of physical vulnerabilities. You acknowledge the risk of fire with smoke detectors. You acknowledge the risk of intrusion with door locks. You must acknowledge the risk of sudden physical failure with wearable response bridges. The mechanics of the device must remain simple. Complex interfaces create friction during moments of panic. A single tactile button provides clarity when vision blurs. Waterproof casings allow the device to monitor the most dangerous room in the house. The bathroom is where slick surfaces and sharp angles meet bare skin. Removing the device to shower defeats the architectural purpose of the system. It must become as routine as putting on a wristwatch. The habit forms the foundation of the protection. Without the habit, the technology is a useless piece of plastic. Comfort dictates compliance in safety hardware. Lanyards, wristbands, and belt clips offer modular wearability. The aesthetic design mimics discrete tech accessories rather than medical hardware. This design evolution reduces the psychological resistance to daily wear. You are not wearing a hospital bracelet. You are wearing a node in a massive emergency logistics network. The signal travels from your hallway to a satellite to a dispatch center. It happens in less time than a person takes to stand up. This speed preserves the option of tomorrow. Tomorrow spent in your own chair with your own coffee. The cost of the hardware is negligible compared to the financial drain of assisted living facilities. A proactive investment in home safety is an investment in financial self-determination. You protect your savings by avoiding catastrophic, delayed response injuries. Medical alert devices for seniors living alone act as the ultimate financial and physical shield. Type the word anchor in the comments to signal your commitment to proactive home safety. Subscribe to the channel to continue fortifying your independence and mastering your cognitive longevity. This material serves educational and strategic purposes and does not constitute medical or financial advice. Consult qualified professionals before altering your structural routines or medical response plans.